In the previous video, we talked about why projects feel unnecessarily hard. You're trying to deliver strategic outcomes without a shared implementation system. So the project lives in fragments and you become the glue. Today, I want to make this concrete with a real story, because on strategic projects, the first visible improvement is almost always this: less confusion around scope and approach. Meet Paul. Paul was an experienced SAP consultant, deep expertise, valuable insights. Then he moved into a project manager role for a high visibility SAP rollout in a global manufacturing company with regional distribution in a foreign business context. It had all the classic complexity: corporate standards to follow, local regulations to respect, multiple groups to align: corporate IT, local IT partner, corporate business, local business. And the project was critical for growth. Delays weren't acceptable. Here's what Paul ran into early, and it's extremely common. People were working hard, but different groups had different interpretations of the scope and the approach. Specifically, how do we phase different system components to support the business? How do we architect the system so the rollout is coherent and doesn't create downstream chaos? When phasing and architecture aren't shared clearly, what happens is predictable. Priorities shift, decisions reopen, teams build in different directions. Progress feels slower than it should, and the project manager absorbs the stress. Management decided internal project managers needed coaching to ensure the project success. And the turning point for Paul was when he started using what we call the project team book. This isn't more documentation. A project team book is a shared implementation system that gives everyone one place and one rhythm to align on: scope and approach, sequencing and phasing, ownership and handoffs, decisions and trade-offs, stakeholder engagement from start to operations. When you lead a strategic project, that shared system is what prevents the work from becoming fragmented, and it's what helps you regain control. The first visible win wasn't we delivered faster. It was less confusion. The team book helped Paul and the team break down complexity so everyone understood what the phases were, why sequencing mattered for the business, what each team contribution was, and how it is connected to the bigger picture. That's when the project starts feeling lighter, because people stop guessing. And when guessing stops, rework drops. Second, Paul became much more effective at summarizing progress for management. Instead of drowning leadership in detail, he could communicate it clearly: what moved, what decisions were required, especially around phasing and architecture, what risks were emerging, and what resources or supports were needed. That kept management confidence high, and on strategic initiatives, management confidence directly affects speed because it affects attention, priority, and resourcing. Third, proper use and management engagement was built in from the start through acceptance testing and transfer to operations. That's critical in manufacturing and distribution context, because adoption isn't optional. Operation must run. The team book ensured engagement wasn't left to chance. Users were involved in early. Expectations were explicit. Acceptance was planned, not rushed. And the handover to operations was structured. When stakeholders aren't surprised late, resistance drops dramatically. Here's the deeper lesson. Paul didn't transform because he became louder or worked longer hours. He transformed because he moved from personal heroics to a system that creates shared understanding of scope and approach, made decisions and trade-offs visible, anticipated bottlenecks, and kept execution moving. That's what a transformation lead does. It's also what positions you as a strategic project leader, someone who gets projects under control and becomes trusted with strategic initiatives. Now I'm curious, where is scope and approach confusion showing up in your project? Tell me which one of these apply. Phasing isn't clear. Architecture decisions are stuck. Scope keeps expanding. Handoffs are undefined. Decisions keep reopening. Next week, I'll host a live webinar called Become a Strategic Project Leader. Get your projects under control and get trusted with strategic initiatives. I'll map out the full set of skills and the approach to help you lead complex projects with a lot less chaos. Subscribe here and follow me on LinkedIn so you don't miss the webinar invite.